Jim, it's going to be interesting to watch the matchups in this game because both teams have some problems. Who is John Lucas going to guard on one end of the floor, and then who's going to take Tony Allen the other? We'll watch that early on.
Joey Graham controls the tip back to John Lucas.
There's the answer. Nelson will be on Lucas.
Interesting thing will be what will happen at the other end. Bonnie Bernstein is here with us. She had a report on that just before the game. McFarland inside misses, but right back up with it. Scoring is Joey Graham.
Well, we talked about that rebound differential. 8.1 rebounds differential in favor of Oklahoma State.
Here you see they've got Bobbitt on him at the start.
Bobbitt to give a little size right there and to take Lucas, who is guarding Carroll.
It's a big size mismatch there, Billy.
Yeah, but he can stay in his face and force him to put the ball on the floor.
We got Bobbitt on Nelson. We hear that also Weatherspoon will be coming in and also facing up against Jameer, who takes the three, and first one slides off the rim. Rebound McFarland.
That was a mistake by Bobbitt. He cannot afford to ever leave Nelson. You got to let the men inside prove they can score.
Just inside, Bryant almost got the steal, but on the line when he had his hands on it. Oak State ball.
Phil Martelli did a great job the other night with Bryant and Jones, saving them into the game, both with 4 fouls in trouble. Masterful job of substitution.
Back on high with Bobbitt, who came up with a couple of big threes in the second half in the win against Pitt here Thursday night.
Wow, that was a dribble I haven't seen in a while.
Allen, though, right back inside and able to find an open.
Well, there is the matchup problem that we talked about. You put a little guy on him and he's too powerful. You put a big guy on him, as the case of Bryant there, and he blows right by.
The Cowboys scoring with their first 2 possessions, and Tony Allen weaving around like he did on Thursday night, finding open seams.
Allen on West. Now, here's what you could see being a problem for Oklahoma State, Jim. West is so clever the way that he plays. He always is under control. Allen is extremely aggressive. For him to get in foul trouble would change the entire complexion of this game, and I think West is capable of doing that to him.
Well, he's already drawn a quick one on Tony Allen.
Watch Allen. He'll put a lot of body and a lot of hands on people.
Nelson back out to West.
Good recovery.
Behind the back. Allen has to back off. The shot way off the mark. And Graham clears for the Cowboys.
Oh, good hustle down floor for McFarland.
Bobbitt, open 3. Tipped around. McFarland very active inside.
So quick.
Back out. Lucas has to take this one.
That's long.
Tipped around into the hands of Carroll.
Lucas getting some open looks. And here's a tough situation. Lucas have a hard time stopping Nelson if Nelson takes him to the basket with that strength.
Nelson's misfired on his first 2 attempts. And it's Lucas again. He's long.
He's long twice.
Time.
That's a sign, Jim, that the guy is so pumped up in the game that the energy is taking the ball long. You just got to calm down on the inside. You see that often in a big game like this. You see there, Lucas going to stay right in and make Carroll put the ball on the floor with the dribble.
There's Carroll. Wait the marksman from out there, but Joey Graham already with 3 rebounds.
Straight man-to-man by both teams. Matchups so much fun to watch in this game because they are so critical.
Lucas bounces it inside and nearly taken away by the National Player of the Year. Well, St. Joe's, the road to the regional final through Liberty. Texas Tech, a conference foe of Oklahoma State, beat them by 5, pulling away late. It's a tight one. Won it at the wire, and then Wake Forest by 4.
Experience dominating in that game, and also dominant in that game was Tyrone Barley, who came in and did the job on Chris Paul, shutting him down. We haven't seen Barley yet, and that is soon to come, I would imagine.
Changes a game the minute he comes in there. Meanwhile, the Cowboys, Billy, this has been pretty impressive. Their 3 games, all double-digit victories.
Eastern Washington,
Memphis.
The closest situation where they were tied at halftime and got that tongue lashing from Eddie Sutton. Down to 2 seconds.
Shot clock violation suffered here by the Cowboys.
Good defense, St. Joe. How often do we see that, Jim? Ball knocked out of bounds, get it back in possession, less than 35 to go. College teams not doing a good job utilizing the shot clock.
And their bench is at the other end, so they can't hear it being barked out from the bench that, hey, there's not that much time left when they inbound it. Joe's has missed its first 4 from the field. 3.5 minutes in without scoring.
Nice job by Jones getting McFarland on his hip.
McFarland.
Yeah, he's clapping his hands because he knows he broke down defensively on that play. You've got to figure Jones and Bryant, Jim, they only take 3.3 shots a game between the two of them. So you don't worry about them having the big breakout game on you.
West looking for a screen off Jones, gives it right back to him. First points of the night for the Hawks.
Well, that's one of 3 shots, so they're pretty good percentage shots to take. Good job by West recognizing.
Almost stolen away, and it is taken away by West. Up to Nelson, and he's in for 2.
How about Bryant? Terrific block out on Lucas.
And timeout called by Oklahoma State. Just like that, after the dunk, the steal, the basket by Nelson. We're tied early.
Jim, this is what makes Jameer Nelson so good. His basketball IQ is excellent. Here he drives. He recognizes right away that Wake Forest is going to bring everybody inside. Kicks out to the outside. Makes it so tough. Now watch right here. He recognizes, oh, Wake Forest, you want to help out up on top? Watch me take my man one-on-one. Dribbles, drives, penetrates, scores. Brilliant basketball player.
Eddie Sutton upset about that turnover. After the full court pressure, he calls the timeout. There'll be another one coming shortly after a whistle. After a dead ball, the under 16. But his team, he wanted to straighten him out. Admonish him right away for not being able to get it up court. Beautiful move inside. That's now 4 on the board for Graham.
Much better execution. Eddie Sutton really got in the face of his players' execution against that full court press. Allen showing us pretty nifty ball handling right there. He's got such huge hands. Floor a little slippery again. West goes down. Recovery over on the other side by Graham.
Nelson step back jumper. That's a 3.
All through the arc on that shot. Did you notice that, Jim? Shooting over a taller player, made the adjustment on the jump shot. St. Joe wanting to force tempo, get this game running a little faster pace. The press can do that.
Hawks with their first lead here in the early going in New Jersey. Lucas thought about it, got a screen, then backed off. McFarland really active. Wanted it, he got it. And underneath, pinned and fouled. Eddie Sutton during that timeout, Billy.
Well, the man's been around. Jim, he is the only coach in the history of the game that has been Coach of the Year in 4 different conferences, had taken 2 different teams to the Final Four. 2 other guys that have been Coach of the Year in 4 different conferences. Norm Sloan, who won a national championship, and Bill Foster.
A foul on John Bryant. The win, by the way, on Thursday night gave Oklahoma State 30 wins on the season. It's the first time he's reached that mark with Oklahoma State. And in talking with them, they believe that it's the first time any coach has led a program, 3 different programs, to 30-win seasons. They had a 30-win season at Arkansas, 30-win season at Kentucky, and now this one, the first at Oklahoma State.
Anybody questioning whether he can coach the game?
764 times he's walked off the court with people saying he can coach. We've got one team in for San Antonio, the UConn Huskies. Phoenix is their lucky city. They go through Phoenix.
Jim, look at that number down showing you how immaterial it is where you're seated or what your number is. Connecticut was a 2. I don't think anybody in the country felt that with Okafor, and we understand he has a slight injury for this game, with Okafor, Connecticut has to be the team you say has the best shot of anybody going all the way.
Just like when they won it in '99, they went through Phoenix again this weekend to make it to the Final Four. And that shot blocked by Allen, a clean takeaway.
Look at him push that ball up the floor, go right by West.
Big skip pass, and Lucas able to snag it up there high.
He can hold that ball with one hand.
Yeah, setting up the jumper. Yes. Beautiful. Oh, how about that moment?
Well, we're talking about a very special player here. And I keep going back to that Rick Barnes statement. That was a tough league, the Big 12. He said nobody had an answer for Tony Allen.
On the drive, Nelson. Going to be short this time. Graham. Hey, he's rebounding much bigger than the size. 6'7".
And look at him bring that ball down the floor. Brian on him.
Allen one more time. He's got the feeling, but well, off the mark. Chased down by Nelson.
Oklahoma State, a team that only takes 11 threes per game. So you don't see that very often from them, looking to shoot the ball quickly from the outside.
Lucas with the push-off. You know, the win streak number here starting to dwindle as we knock off teams in the tournament. The longest current streak, Oklahoma State. And how about Xavier? Xavier and St. Joe still alive.
Can you believe Xavier 10-9 at one point in the season, playing as well as anybody in the country right now? Jim, you have to wonder the 4 games that they had to play in 4 days in the tournament, and then this terrific run. I'll tell you, they had a lot of spring in their legs yesterday and looked terrific.
Xavier and Duke tomorrow in the Atlanta Regional Final. Xavier, the only team to beat St. Joe's. That happened a couple of weeks ago in the A-10 first round.
Witherspoon in the ball game now, and he'll be over on Nelson.
Stokaitis is in, and here's Barley, number 12. Stokaitis with a big basket, his only field goal attempt of the game. Made a big one in the last minute against Wake.
Sutton goes to that bench early.
Allen
Pass.
Forced the turnover, and Witherspoon, there he is for the Cowboys. First turnover committed by St. Joe's.
Both teams go to the bench. Barley on Lucas, and I'll tell you what, you talk about a shutdown man. Barley, the Atlanta 10 Defensive Player of the Year, and he can do it. Strong. He probably is athletically kind of like the Oklahoma State players. You know what, Jim? He fits right in there.
Allen, 8 away, front of the rim. Terrence Crawford numbers for the Cowboys, 42. Barley outside wing, open 3. And it's Graham again. No one's taking it away from him tonight. Witherspoon in trouble. Barley with his hands, and they're so active. Lob pass hit the rim. Back out Witherspoon. Steps in. Rejected.
Good job by West getting a piece of that.
Sloppy sequence here. One pass hit the rim. And now this turnover.
Unusual lineup out early in this ball game now for Oklahoma State. Witherspoon, Crawford. Not that Eddie Sutton wouldn't do this anyway, but I think it's a change.
There's West with the one-hander.
Left-hander, of course, he's going to go to that shot. Got some respect from Allen on that one.
First points of the night for Delonte West. Here's another lob. It's Graham underneath. Stokaitis trying to defend and coming over to help Dwayne Jones. Going to be on Stokaitis. Best records. Well, we got 2 of the 3 30-win teams here right now. St. Joe's and Oklahoma State.
And of course, Gonzaga, a team that St. Joe started the season with a big victory.
Joey Graham, his twin, Stephen, has not seen minutes to this point, but will. No stranger, Billy, to playing before packed houses. Trained at a young age as Bobbitt comes back on the floor. Joey and Stephen Graham, growing up out in Florida, used to perform at halftime of college games and pro games, doing a globetrotter-like routine, spinning the ball, passing it around, behind the back, etc. They got trained playing in front of packed houses, so it's a big one tonight, though, trying to take his school to the Final Four for the first time since 1995, when they, in fact, advanced right out of this building. And a win over UMass in the regional final.
And a man watching very intently. He was a big part of that. Man from Gans, Oklahoma.
Outside Witherspoon on the line. St. Joe's ball. Oklahoma State with a big bulge early in the rebounding department, Billy, +6. 11-9, though, that's the score. Timeout on the floor. We're back at Continental Airlines Arena in New Jersey, where 9 years ago yesterday, Oklahoma State and Eddie Sutton made that move to the Final Four with a regional final victory over UMass, led by Bryant Big Country Reeves. 24 points, 10 rebounds, Billy.
Man from Gans, Oklahoma. He's sitting right there, as I said, watching very intently. Went through Drexel, Malik Rose, Alabama with Antonio McDyess, Wake Forest with Tim Duncan, and Massachusetts with Marcus Camby. Pretty good center matchups there, and a terrific job on his part.
Always love seeing the prominent ex-players come back and support the program. And the other night, Oklahoma State had the first game of the evening, the win over Pitt. He stayed there and watched with great intensity the second game, as if he was scouting for Coach Sutton.
What makes you think he might not have been?
Probably was. He would have liked to be out there on the floor right now. You know that. Daniel Bobbitt collects his first foul. That team went on out to Seattle and lost in the national semifinals to the eventual champion UCLA.
Jim West, a terrific free throw shooter. Kind of guy you want on the line, almost shooting on the year. 89%. Just amazes me how he has improved his shooting since the time he arrived at St. Joe to what he is right now. You mentioned the other day, 2 for 17 from 3 in his freshman year, and look at him now.
Easily breaking the pressure here. The 2 free throws ties the game at 11.
Boy, West gave up a lot of room. Allen to shoot right over the top of that.
Look at this dipsy-do. Tipped up once, twice, and batted out to Weatherspoon.
You can't give Allen that much room.
Bobbitt on the drive.
Is that going to be
the charge?
Marley again. What a defender. Bobbitt's got to understand, you got to pull up. You got to get a defender like that, knows how to draw a charge. He's got an opening, and watch this. All the way from the weak side, terrific defensive anticipation.
This is important because they had Bobbitt on Nelson, and now with 2 fouls, Bobbitt has to go out. That means Lucas is back in the game.
He's on Marley. Taking away a lot of the kick-out jump shots so far in this game is Oklahoma State.
Weatherspoon on Nelson inside, all tied up. Well, they say a foul, a hold is going to be the call against the Cowboys. It's going to be called on Crawford.
Give Jones some credit there, Jim. Excellent hands on his part and turn what could have been a jump ball into a foul. Young man who's done a tremendous job defensively this year and sets a lot of screens on the offense.
Height has lost it going up. Crawford comes out with it. Thought about snapping it over to Allen on the quick break, but instead it's Lucas. He can control the Cowboys at this end.
A little talk in there between West and Nelson to go ahead and make that switch. Made it look so easy.
Look at Marley.
Oh, right.
Look at him right up in Allen's face.
He is
crossover. Great steal. And Allen right back with it. Lost his footing. That's only pass. And Nelson's right there to defend. Up ahead, Delonte. And yes, uses the other side of the basket to beat McFarland.
Absolutely did that. Now, what's going on right now? Marley got into Allen's head.
Weatherspoon underneath. And that's going to be on Stakaitis.
Jim, when you're a good defensive player and a great defensive player as Barley is, one of the things that I really like is the fact that not only physically do you get into a guy's, but you also get into him mentally. Now watch what he does right here. He gets so tight on him that Allen takes this as a personal challenge. And when he does, it costs him. Tries that crossover dribble, which he does well. There goes the steal.
Weatherspoon at the line for 2. From nearby Camden, Delaware, not that far from St. Joe's. So one Cowboy familiar with Philadelphia area basketball, that's for sure. Stakaitis has to go out with the 2.
Via Odessa College, so it wasn't like a quick trip from Delaware on out to Stillwater.
Odessa, always a junior college powerhouse, and one more coming for Weatherspoon.
Jim, we have to watch now. With Barley going to be going out there against Allen, let's see if Allen will calm down or he will mentally get into it being a personal challenge and take away from his game.
Here's Nelson. Big screen here. Wide open shot front of the rim. Look at Graham again.
He may be listed at 6'7", but he plays about 6'9", doesn't he?
He really looks 6'9". He plays even bigger than that. Marlin back out to Graham. He's going to try it outside off
Nothing
the mark.
there.
Chase down though. Weatherspoon so quick. Open is Lucas. They see him. Takes the 3. Too strong.
He's been too strong every time.
3 for 3.
Numbers again.
Nelson on the wing. Sets up Carroll. That's blocked. We talk about defending the 3. Allen got a hand on it.
Well, see, there's where Carroll's going to have to use the pump fake. He has to realize that they're going to step right out and take away his jump shot. How often last night we saw J.J. Redick from Duke realizing what they're going to do defensively, take the pump fake, take a step, and then get your shot off.
Lucas back out to Allen. This team's missed its last 8 from the field. Make it 9.
Lucas having a nightmare of a first half right here, and it's very important. He's going to get those shots. He's got to make something happen.
And Carroll set up for this one. Yes! Nelson just weaving around, found him open.
And that's where Nelson is so tough. He makes the penetration. He knows he can take it all the way, and so do the defenders, so they've got to collapse on him. When they do, he can kick it out.
Timeout again, called by the Cowboys. St. Joe's with its largest lead. It's been a tight one throughout. 5.5 minutes without a basket for the Cowboys, and Carroll hits the three for the lead.
Coach Martelli doing that fabulous job with his rotations on his bench. He sits Jones down with West. And here is the man that I really think could be the defensive difference maker in this game. Barley is just so difficult to create your offense when he gets on the man that's got the ball in his hands.
5 on the shot clock. Bobbitt lost the handle and double dribbled.
And right now, with Lucas having a shutdown game, Jim, you see no good offensive flow in the half-court set by Oklahoma State. Bobbitt is certainly not the guy that's going to get that done against these guards from St. Joe.
With the 2 fouls, guarding Nelson right here. Nelson takes the 3 over him. Inside, Stephanus with the putback, just like he did on Thursday night, plus a foul.
There was a Derek Wittenberg shot to Lorenzo Charles. And what happens right here, because the bigger man is on Jameer Nelson, he has to change the arc of his shot. When he does, it comes up a little bit short from that range. Good job, and we saw this young man on the foul line, Jim, do that exact same thing in a big key putback against Wake Forest.
You always got to break the heart of a Houston guy by bringing that up, don't you? That was the first offensive rebound of the night, the one by Stakaitis.
Well, we talked about the difference in rebounding, and so far, St. Joe holding their ground right here.
Oh, look at that. High off the back of the rim and goes.
Here's that little full court pickup pressure, and Lucas does the right thing. Gets it away from Barley.
It's a 10-2 stretch here for the Hawks. Leading by 6. Double up on Stephen Graham in for the first time. Takes the jumper long. McFarland underneath. Good handle. And Stakaitis getting some valuable time, valuable minutes here for St. Joe's. Look at this. 3 players defending.
Oh!
That's going against the Cowboys.
And that shows you the strength of Nelson.
Called on McFarland.
Fallen upset. Jimmy, I said these 2 fellas may have to combine for 50 tonight. Because this game is a little bit lower scoring than I anticipated, that may be out of the question, but they are certainly delivering.
Nelson. Another generous roll. And a 20-13 lead. Delonte West back in for Barley.
Barley sits down. West stays out of foul trouble, gets a little bit of a rest. Graham has to sit down. It doesn't seem to me like Oklahoma State has been able to get into a flow with their lineup on the floor. They went to the bench early, and it has never been a smooth functioning outfit.
It's a 12-2 run, 6 for West, 7 for Nelson, and they lead the Hawks by 8. St. Joe's leading by 8, and we spoke with head coach Phil Martelli about how important this game is for his program.
Well, I mean, it's a stamp that they can never remove. I mean, the winner of this game goes to the Final Four, and you know what? They never can take that away from you. So this is as significant a game as we've ever played in the history of St. Joe basketball.
A program that's actually been
to the Final Four.
1961. St. Joe's went to the Final Four and defeated in the regional final Wake Forest.
Right, and set all kinds of records in the consolation game. Unfortunately, they ran into Ohio State, the team that was so powerful along with Cincinnati back at that time, but they did a great job in the consolation game. And of course, what transpired out of there was a sad situation in regard to the incredible gambling scandals of 1961.
One shaving scandal that involved 6 different schools. As Weatherspoon banks at home. I mentioned Wake Forest, and we were on that team that St. Joe's defeated in its one regional final on to the Final Four.
Jackie Egan, Jim Lynam, who eventually became a great coach at St. Joe.
Coach Martelli just said, you know, they go to the Final Four, they can't take it away from you, but technically they did.
They did.
Yeah. They expunged that appearance, vacated it.
That was a tragic situation.
And the block there by McFarland. As Stakaitis took it to the hole, tried the left hand.
Good hands by McFarland.
Right by Nelson. Inside, Allen, other side, yes.
And now Lucas could get some confidence, Jim, being able to push the ball up the floor and make some things happen. He almost was picked off by Nelson. You have to be very careful When Barley and Nelson are down on that floor and you try to dribble up the court, they have the ability to take it away, and Barley be coming back in here quickly.
Nelson.
Right by Witherspoon. No help by McFarland. A little late getting there.
Witherspoon just shaking his head. I'm sure he thought there'd be a little support system back there for him. There was nothing. Here's McFarland at this end. Oak State finding some easy baskets at the last 3 trips.
Well, right now, St. Joe's very small with Bryant, the only guy of any size in there. Stakaitis has given him some valuable playing time here, but they are small.
Stakaitis with the 3, line driver, tipped around and over to Allen.
Look at how Lucas is pushing this ball up the floor. He's got...
Oh, well, that was a tough pass, though. He's trying to bounce it in there on the run to McFarland.
Jim, when you're down by 4, you don't want to throw that kind of pass. You want to be solid.
Make sure you folks at home vote for your starting guards on the Pontiac All-Time Tournament team. Cast your ballot now at ncaasports.com/Pontiac. So, yes, Barley is back in. Jones returns as well. Sits for the Cowboys.
So, lackadaisical pass by Witherspoon. I think with Barley in the game, you can't try that often.
Here's Allen in trouble, doubled up and taken away. That's Carroll with the theft.
So any time that Allen tries to go one-on-one, he doesn't realize how well St. Joe's plays team defense and how well they can stop that dribble penetration.
By Witherspoon again, the kick out to West.
Sensational!
That is St. Joe's basketball right there.
Sensational!
9 for West, 9 for Nelson.
I really think Nelson has as good a basketball IQ, and I hate to keep repeating that, as anybody we have seen in a long, long time. He recognizes when you can dribble, when you can kick out, when you've got to take the jump shot. Look at that.
Traveling call on Witherspoon. Got pinned, came back down with it.
See, here's what he sees. He recognizes, hey, there's a defender down in there that can block my shot. And here he comes. So guess what? I'm getting it out of there. West knowing I'm going to stand beyond the three-point line because my buddy and teammate knows how to get me the ball. No defense against that.
And that's what's so beautiful about it. You watch West and his footwork. He saw it coming 5 feet before Barley, or before West got inside, or before Nelson got inside. Bobbitt is back in with the 2 fouls. From the corner, Carroll not hitting the shot so far. Bobbitt.
But that was a good shot opportunity. Exactly what Phil Martelli would like his team to have. Wide open look for Carroll.
Barley can play out there. Tipped around into the hands of Jameer.
Smallest guy on the floor picks it off. He and Lucas.
Again, aware of where West is. Back over to Barley, wide open. The bounce pass, setting up Jones, and Allen collects his second. Nasty spill right there.
Jones going to pop right back up. Good bounce pass. Good move on the part of Jones to try to take it all the way, recognizing he's going to get hit by the body, goes to finish. Nothing shy about that play. #1 shot blocker in the Atlantic 10 2 years in a row. Primarily sets screens, plays defense, rebounds, and block shots.
Crawford comes back in along with Jason Miller, 33 for the Cowboys.
And Eddie Sutton right now is rotating with that bench nowhere near as effectively as Phil Martelli is with his.
Jones hits them both. That's the biggest tournament deficit so far for the entire tournament for the Cowboys. They're down 9.
And look at the press. Now, if Lucas thinks he's going to beat this with a dribble, this is not a good ball-handling team on the floor right now for Oklahoma State.
Banked home by Allen. But once they broke that press, and you get Allen in there, he can make things happen. Here's Nelson right back with the kick out. West over Allen.
Probably not a good idea. I think West should try to take Allen on the dribble right now. He's got 2 fouls. To pick up that 3rd one would be very important. Look at how uneasy Lucas is trying to dribble that ball. He realizes now and has gained a lot of respect for what Nelson, Barley, and West can do with their hands against the dribble.
And with Lucas, we're talking about the media's choice as the player of the year in the Big 12. Here he is, open top of the key for just a moment. Carroll trying to defend, and Lucas is on the board.
John can't even get his breath. He's trying so hard. It's a lot easier to play the game than watch your son play it, and John is having a rough time.
But that look of Lucas's, the dad, times as a player.
I thought that was a foul, but what a cut through on the double team.
And a big hack here. Is this Bobick?
No, I think that's, it is going to be Bobick.
If it is, it's 3. It is.
Look at that cut through. They try to hedge. I really thought there was a foul here. No call on the play. Fortunately for St. Joe, they get the ball back and pick up the 3rd foul on Bobick.
So Bobick with 3, and Eddie Sutton looks to his assistants, including son Sean. As the first one spins out for Barley. Now they bring in Weatherspoon. This young man, Tyrone Barley, senior from Newark, New Jersey. This is like a home game for him right here.
Jim, let me give you an example of the difference of these benches. St. Joe's bench this year created 387 points, 17% of their points from the 3-point line. For Oklahoma State, only 9 points from the bench all year from 3. A huge difference, and Phil Martelli taking advantage of it.
The lead had been 9, down to 6. 2 things stand out in this game's summary: 3-point shots and the lack of turnovers.
Absolutely.
Committed by St. Joe.
You can see the fact that Oklahoma State has not gotten into their half-court offense. Now, here's a beautiful pick-and-roll situation, one of many that St. Joe's instituted so far in this first half. Jones sets the screen. West sees it coming. No help on that side. Goes back into Jones down there for an easy dunk. I realize that was early in the game, Jim, but throughout the course of this first half, we've seen St. Joe go against that defense where they jump out. And the last time we saw Nelson go right through the hedge man and take it right to the basket. Good execution.
2 starters on the floor for the Cowboys. Lucas and Allen with the ball right now.
And Allen better not challenge Barley with the dribble. Bad idea.
Desperate pass.
Good catch, Jim. Pat McGrath with an assist.
Trying to take it away from me. Come on, Pat. What are you doing here? Come on.
You know what you have to recognize. Go ahead, Jim.
Singer at the half. Greg Humble, Clark Kellogg, Seth Davis. We speak with Kansas head coach Bill Self coming up, plus your one-on-one singular Billy Packer challenge, trivia challenge, coming up singular. Allen, yes, that one, a rainbow shot.
If you're Oklahoma State, what you have got to do is to tell your guards, don't challenge full court or in a half court the defensive players from St. Joe's with your dribble. Pass the ball and get it inside. They've taken 7 outside shots, 7 threes. That is not their game. They only take usually 11 the whole game.
Even worse, they haven't made one.
That's right. But, you know, they don't count on the 3-point shot as does St. Joe. St. Joe is getting them to play their game in this first half. What you're always trying to do to your opponent, impose your game on theirs.
10 on the shot clock. Nelson. Graham defending out to Carroll. Carroll passed up a good shot, but it comes right back to him for another try.
He's got to make that shot. There's a push-up that time on Jones' cheap foul. But, Jim, isn't that amazing? Great ball handling and rotation by St. Joe's. Carroll does not make the shot. You know, you can do all the things, you can't execute the made shot. Everything breaks down.
You know, they have only 2 turnovers, the Hawks. Plus, that was only the 4th team foul. Nowhere near the bonus situation as we approach 2 minutes to go in the half.
See, I think this is a good way to go ahead and break that press. Jones is not going to do anything with McFarland. Keep it out of your guard's hands. Let McFarland bring it up.
Switch off here.
Oh, Allen likes that matchup right now on Carroll.
Whips it over Witherspoon. McFarland, yes.
That matchup will break down St. Joe's every time. Carroll not quick enough or strong enough to play with Allen.
Brought it back to 2. It was a 9-point lead. Just a few moments back for the Hawks. 8-1 span here. West steps out, now drives, fade away.
Oh, he loves that fade away. Unlike Nelson, he's more accustomed, Jim, to that fadeaway jumper when he gets inside as opposed to taking it all the way.
Bounce pass taken away by Jameer.
Again, backcourt trying to dribble through traffic. Not a good idea.
Barley lost the handle, but off McFarland. The regional finals tomorrow, the last 2 Entries to San Antonio will be decided first in St. Louis, where Kansas plays Georgia Tech, then down in Atlanta, Xavier and Duke tomorrow on the road to the Final Four on CBS.
Big key, B.J. Elder for Georgia Tech. They can ill afford to have him out of a big ball game like this. Another wide open shot.
Carroll, it rattles out. Allen's on the run.
They see,
Look at that pass by Jameer up to Barley. A steal and a pass going the other way.
Jim, I don't know what Eddie Sutton can say to his players while this half is on, but they have got to understand you cannot beat St. Joe with the dribble. They are so clever with Barley and West and Nelson taking your dribble away, give the ball up to a big man, and get in your half-court set.
Look at the points off turnover, 16-0.
And I would say 90% of those created by dribble situations.
Lucas way out there top of the key.
Close.
Well, that pass, though, by Jameer Nelson after the steal, that one was a special highlight. Timeout called by St. Joe's. Watch this, going the other way. Able to snap it down court to Barley. And the Hawks are up by 8. Let's see. Back in New Jersey, Jim Nantz, Billy Packer, Bonnie Bernstein. Interesting to look at the school presidents. Father Timothy Lannon, St. Joe's on the left. And yes, that is the school president from Oklahoma State, Dr. David Schmidley, who was wearing that outfit because Eric Eplin right here, the student who normally wears that, could not be here at the start of the game. In fact, he could not be here. He's their #1 fan. He was not here, this young man, Eric Eplin, on Thursday because he was being interviewed for law school. He has never been to a Cowboy loss, home or away. So the president stepped in and used the wardrobe on Thursday. Now he's changed back.
That would have been an interesting scene. And what's my line had you shown him with that wig on? President of the university. And here we see Holden for the last shot. Nice timeout by Phil Martelli, particularly with a ball in the hands of this young man.
Operates with 5 to the corner. Three-point shot is off. Weatherspoon has it. And St. Joe's goes to the locker room in front by 6. Well, Billy, those two stars, Nelson and West, they have 20 of the 33 for St. Joe's. From behind the arc for the Cowboys, that includes John Lucas, 0 for 5. All right, so St. Joe's with the 6-point lead, 20 minutes away from someone having their ticket punched for San Antonio. Who will it be? Nelson working on Bobick, who has 3 fouls, and he goes right under the basket, brings it back out. West lost the handle and a turnover right away on the first possession of the second half.
Good quick hands by Allen. One of the things you might want to think of if you're St. Joe's, Allen, who gets very aggressive, to go ahead and see if you can't challenge him a little bit, whoever he's guarding with the dribble, see if he'll be aggressive and pick up that 3rd foul. Here's the key right now. Can Lucas get into this game at all, Jim? He has really had problems both shooting the ball and handling it.
Nelson eyeing him. Bring it out to the top scorer in that first half. Now Bobick with the 3. Wow, that was from way out there.
I didn't think he really had caught that ball properly. That was some release.
It's very similar to what he did now against Pittsburgh on Thursday night. Bobick came right out in the second half after a dry first half and hit 2 big threes early. A turnover on the last trip by the Hawks, only the 3rd of the night and the first in 11 minutes. West, top of the key. Hands in the hands of the shortest man on the floor, Lucas.
Nice job by Bobick. Lucas, somebody better bring him down.
Only Graham underneath.
Lucas will get some confidence if people don't stop him with the dribble. Ball is not going to take it inside quickly.
Ooh, and another turnover.
Timeout, Phil Martelli.
My goodness, what a start. First to get Bobick with the first 3 of the night for the Cowboys.
I think that maybe the next time down the floor he times out just to calm his club down a little bit.
They matched the same number of turnovers committed in the entire first half here in the early going. 2 turnovers in 3 possessions.
What an explosive drive that was.
Let's get a report now from Bonnie.
Well, Jim, of the nation's best shooting team, Eddie Sutton said of his Oklahoma State squad, I don't know that I've seen some of my guys shoot as poorly as they did in the first half. He said, but our biggest flaw is our inability to take care of the basketball. He said, we're not used to 10 turnovers a game, and St. Joe's capitalized on almost all of them. He said, boys, we keep doing that. We're going back to Stillwater.
They come out blazing here in the second half. That foul was on Carroll a moment ago, his first. Work it back inside to Graham, and he was pushing off.
That was an offensive foul. Graham so strong with the upper body, uses that arm sometimes, and Carroll did a wise thing. As soon as he felt the contact, he dropped back.
That's the second on Joey Graham. They've got 2 on Graham, 2 on Allen, 3 on Bobbitt. No foul worries on the other side.
Allen talking to Graham out there. Graham said, hey, you better go back and pick up that man you're guarding. Don't talk to me. And Allen realizes it's West. You better get there.
Jones working it. Tough shot. Oh, and the loose ball picked up now by McFarland.
What's he going to do with it on the dribble?
He's going to whip it over here to Lucas. Jumper, back of the rim.
Just cannot get anything to fall as Lucas.
Nelson with the big lob. One underneath. They kick it back out to Carroll.
In there.
And out. Pulled back down by McFarland. Carroll now 1 for 7 from 3.
Well, that shot looked good, Jim. We were right on the angle with it. It was an excellent release. Didn't go. And Joe's shooting much poorer than they'd like to from the three-point line.
Cowboys looking for their first lead since 11-10. Take it with the basket here. It's Lucas. There you go. John Lucas with the 3.
Will Phil Martelli get that timeout now? I think he needs to change the pace of this game. He's standing up there, but he's letting his team go. Kind of surprised me a little bit.
8-0 to start the second half.
You notice that when Bryant steps out, nobody worries about him. Great backdoor cut.
And Nelson finishes.
Boy, that's when you got confidence in your club. It's come out very slowly.
That's Nelson's first basket in about 10 minutes on the clock. That ties it at 35. Always looking like he wants to work something inside, and he does to Joey Graham. Beautiful assist.
Great recognition between those two players right there, Jim. Allen, he's under control with that great power. And you know, Graham has had some hands. Doesn't he, when he catches that ball? It's so powerful.
Carroll, again, long. Bryant saves it, though. Nelson up high off the window and pulled back down by Graham with those strong hands.
He really does. He grabs that ball with 2 hands, and it's all his. McFarland trying to get Lucas free with some outside screens. That was a lob. Bad play.
He was trying to find McFarland.
37-35. You don't want to make this spectacular play at this point if you're Oklahoma State. Stay solid.
Eddie Sutton immediately calls on Weatherspoon to go check in. West, a pass in traffic, caught underneath the basket.
No place to go. Look at those hands again by Graham.
Lucas signals. Come on, let's move it up. Let's move it quick. Fade away, Lucas.
You know, he's made 2 of the fadeaway jump shots in this ball game, but has not made the straight-in looks.
And there's the timeout called by St. Joe's. They weren't going to wait for the next dead ball, which would have automatically brought one.
Jim, I thought it should have come a little earlier. Get the momentum back.
Settle things down. 12-2 to start the second half for Oak State. UConn is in the Final Four. This is the second piece of the puzzle. And interestingly, the winner of this game will not play UConn next week in the semifinals. Instead, we'll play the winner of Georgia Tech. Kansas comes your way tomorrow on CBS.
Jim, we have seen 2 different philosophies here in regard to defense. St. Joe in the first half did a great job with full court pressure. You can see here Oklahoma State not wanting any part of full court pressure to go up against Nelson. They wait for him in a half-court set.
Even with this 12-2 Cowboy run to begin the second half, Barley is not brought in. The super sub still sits. Here's West with his own fadeaway. And unlucky with the roll that time. McFarland has it for the Cowboys. Graham, on up jump.
Nice shot. Graham, does he seem focused, Jim, or not in this second half?
You know, he can not only control the boards, but he can get on an offensive spurt you wouldn't believe. West, that one's blocked by McFarland. No, they say he got a piece of the hand.
Second time today, McFarland picked up a foul where he thought he had a pretty good defensive chance for the block.
And that's 3 on McFarland.
And remember with early in the first half when Nelson made that drive down the lane, McFarland picked up that foul.
talking about Joey Graham a moment ago, scoring at the other end. He now has a double-double tonight, 11 points, 10 rebounds.
Well, he had a 36-point game against Nebraska, the most ever scored in the Iba Arena, with the exception of the 58 Bob Curley scored way back in 1946. So that record still standing.
Stakaitis coming in for Carroll, and Barley in for Bryant.
Let's see what Barley can do. He has been the man, in my estimation, that has been the key in this tournament to change things around for St. Joe. Can he do it again?
2 free throws by Delonte West. Oklahoma State's hit 6 of its first 8 in this half to take the lead. And the Hawk. And meanwhile, you remember that lob pass young John Lucas tried to attempt? Look at his dad.
You know, for every father, and Jim, we've been there, you get in a game like this, you anguish so much, and I hope that John is not looking at his father, John, because you can't get involved, but his father is dying right here now. It is so much easier to play the game than to watch your son play it. But he was giving him some pretty good advice. Stay away from that lob pass, get back to the dribble, and shoot and get a good release on your jump shot. So it was all good advice. It's tough for a young man to have to listen.
And there's the young man, and it's knocked away. Of course, the dad, great point guard at Maryland 30 years ago, and he had his own agonizing moments.
Oh, boy.
In postseason play. Back then, you could only get one team in from the conference, and they had that storied overtime ACC final game against NC State. And there, a double up, and yes, it's nope, timeout. Oh, I thought
he went out of bounds with it. Those strong hands allowed Graham to get the timeout.
Timeout, Oak State. In 34 years as a head coach, Eddie Sutton, only Dean Smith more wins after 34 years on the bench. 764 W's. And looking for his third Final Four. 1978 Arkansas, 95 Oklahoma State, his home school. Here we go with 6 seconds on the shot clock. Allen with the 3. Tipped up by Graham, battling for it.
Alive. Nice hustle there by Jones. Nelson tough in this position.
Spin move, and look over the Cowboys up there trying to influence that shot.
That was McFarland about, what would you say, a foot above the board there?
He had company. Allen got the fake on Stakaitis, and this will be a foul on St. Joe's.
We're seeing some men step up here, Jim, in this second half.
Dwayne Jones on the foul, and whether you're looking for live scores and updated brackets from each game or game centers with in-depth play-by-play, you can find it all. CBSSportsLine.com. Inbounds pass, Lucas. Bank shot, yes.
Surprised Nelson by breaking to the basket that time. Got a good open look. Lucas now starting to pick up some confidence in the second half, Jim.
Is he ever, Billy? 7 points in the half, 9 for the game.
Maybe he has been watching his father. Wide open.
Nelson.
Big hit.
And considering how they had struggled from the floor in this half before that one.
You can see what Oklahoma State is now doing for Lucas. They're setting a big screen to try to break that defender so he can't go ahead and play in man-to-man. Smart move by Eddie Sutton.
How big that shot was. They've made only one of their first 10 in this half before the 3 by Jameer. Lucas.
A little bit of a line drive. They got a fast break opportunity. Are they going to take it? Here comes West.
Cowboys get back in a hurry. 3-point lead for Oklahoma State.
Seems like everything changes when Barley comes in the game, doesn't it? They seem to be much more composed. They get better shots, better looks, and obviously stronger defense.
And better leadership. There's a long 3 by Delonte West.
He just changes this game around.
The defender all over Lucas right here. That's his nickname around Hawk Hill.
And West is saying to Allen, go ahead, put up the jump shot.
Joey Graham and Stakaitis out high with the foul. So back-to-back threes by St. Joe's for a 6-point run. Bring Bobbitt back in along with Crawford.
Jim, it really is interesting in regard to three-point shooting. St. Joe's shoots 40% from 3. And you have a team, Oklahoma State, that holds opponents to 30%. So something has to give.
So far, they're 5 out of 19. So Oklahoma State's got the percentage battle going. Bobick never had a clean handle. Instead, sets up Lucas. Ooh, what a rebound. Look at that. Fighting inside with Crawford falling to the floor, and a foul against St. Joe's. That's again against Dwayne Jones. That's his third.
Well, when Eddie Sutton went to the bench in the first half, things kind of got out of focus for their team. Now Crawford comes in and does a couple of solid things. Bryant's going to come in for Jones now that they don't get him in time.
He raced to check in, but did not get there in time.
And Graham again using those hands to push the defender away. He got hit on the arm by Stakaitis. No question. That is just not big enough or strong enough to guard him.
3 on Stakaitis. Sunday night's lineup tomorrow night on America's #1 network. It all begins with #1 news magazine, 60 Minutes, then Cold Case, and the CBS Sunday movie, Jesus. All here Sunday on CBS, America's most watched network. Graham at the line for 2. That's the newcomer in the Big 12 this year.
Jim, there's something interesting about this team. In the first 15 games of the year, they shot only 63% from the foul line. Since then, 73%. Terrific improvement, and obviously has a lot to do with the terrific run they've had.
Julie Graham has tied his career high in this game with 10 rebounds. Gets the second to go. 1-point lead, Oklahoma State. Steve Barley. Lucas trying to defend. West, tough shot. All Cowboys underneath. Lucas races up. In the lane, it's Graham. Oh, what a feed, Lucas.
Wow, and that will be a foul on Bryant as well. Terrific job by Lucas to spot him. Here's where hustle counts, and we see right now Graham. As I said, the men are now coming to play. Terrific job on his part. Just too strong, too big, and can really elevate.
And draws the third foul on Bryant. So Joey Graham having a huge night here for OSU. 3-point play and a 4-point lead as they head to the benches. What a different team we're seeing this half. Jim Nance with Billy Packer, Bonnie Bernstein, Jameer, and Delonte. They huddled with the coach, came out of the huddle, and then Jameer brought the rest of the team over, put his arms around him, and had his own word or two for the rest of the team.
Well, terrific senior leadership on that young man. Up to come back to this team and has been the leader all year long. So that's not too surprising.
3 Hawks with 3 fouls. Stakaitis, Jones, and Bryant.
And Jones is having to sit.
Barley in traffic, and Bryant fed by Barley.
Little difference with McFarland out of the game, Jim, with a little foul trouble. He would have been there for that play. Ooh, what a tough matchup right here.
A little elbow to the chin of Nelson.
Yeah.
Graham was trying to free himself, and a hold called on Jameer. Thursday on a new Survivor, the All-Stars think it's time for a merge, but what they get is a bizarre twist that will shake up the game, and you'll see it Thursday at 8/7 Central. America's most watched network. Survivor back to its usual time. That's the 7th team foul, so we're in the 1-1 for Oklahoma State.
Jim, Nelson very seldom finds a guy that he goes up against that he isn't as strong physically as, and there was one of the few times that would happen to him. That's why Graham was on that line.
Whistle before the shot.
It's going to be fighting through the screen. Bryant set a decent screen, gets fouled.
And it's called on Graham as we look at some of his big moments in this game. Graham with a double-double, 15 points, 10 rebounds. He just picked up his 3rd foul for the Cowboys, and that's the 3rd team foul.
This is very big, but falling in can do the job defensively, but Graham was just getting in sync on the offensive end. Nice job by Nelson, realizing the cut was not there by West.
Look at Allen out high on West.
I think West ought to try to take him to pick up some fouls. Allen plays so aggressively against that dribble.
Nelson trying to free himself for the shot. What a beautiful tray that one was.
And not only, Jim, a great shot there, but it was good against good defense. Bobbitt held his ground against all of that, and he still got it off.
17 for Jameer Nelson.
Boy, they are really getting tight
on both ends.
Yep.
As we approach the midway point of the second half, and St. Joe's has regained the lead.
Three-point shooting, so important for this club.
8 on the shot clock. Lucas in the lane, floater, front of the rim, tipped up by McFarland. No, it was Allen. And a new 35 for Oklahoma State.
I think Lucas was surprised he was that wide open on the drive.
Loves the survey. Now comes in, hits the shot.
Did a great job, Jim, pulling up on that shot. Rather than going any one dribble further, he draws the charge. Smart play.
Tony Allen with 12. We have our 6th lead change. Wanting to drive. Nelson back out high. Bryant will give it up quickly. To Titus, to West. Bounce pass, a beauty, and finished up by Bryant.
Just great ball handling on the interior. Bryant hanging around, takes advantage.
Back and forth we go. St. Joe's 50, Oklahoma State 49.
Nelson got away with a foul that time. He's got to be careful. Doesn't want to pick anything cheap. They've got to keep him in the game. Both teams' defense is excellent on the ball.
And this ball is hard to shake. And Lucas knows it.
Yep, he can't even get the offense initiated.
7 on the shot clock. Lucas now open from the corner and hits the 3.
Well, you had to double team Allen the way he's been showing he can penetrate inside.
Dr. Schmidley, the school president, on his feet cheering it on. Lucas with 12 on the game. 10 coming here in the second half.
A lot of nice movement here by St. Joe, trying to free up one of the 2 guards out here, Nelson or West.
Loose ball picked up by Allen. Over to Crawford. Lucas snaps it ahead. It's McFarland on the run, and the Cowboys score again.
And a foul on the play. No way to stop a man who's a great finisher like that. You might as well let him take the shot.
Some credit to Allen, to Crawford, to Lucas, to McFarland. 4 Cowboys touched it after the steal.
Now, Jim, you've got to let a man like this go ahead and take that shot. Graham coming back in. Allen going to take a little breather right here.
The foul was on Barley, his second. As McFarland's moving in on a double-double. 8 points, 9 rebounds. Chance to go up 5. Another product out of Willow Ridge High School in Missouri City, Texas.
Well,
played with the likes of T.J. Ford, Daniel Ewing, Taylor of Texas.
And he started this tournament with a double. 20 and 10 against Eastern Washington. He's picking right up from there.
Lucas, that big 3. Cowboys up by 5. You know, I want to talk about the St. Joe's flap, and I'm not talking about the Hawk. I'm going to go back to the selection show when I asked you about St. Joe's being a #1 seed. And you felt that Oklahoma State deserved to be a 1.
Absolutely.
And really, if you talk about
what St. Joe's the 5, you know, the 5 on the second line.
The selection committee later told us that the Big 12 tournament final, which Oklahoma State won, finished too late to be factored in. They ended up ranking, because this is the first year they announced it, St. Joe's was their 4th overall seed in the tournament, and Oklahoma State was a 5. It was almost
so fine line.
Such a fine line.
And look at what this game is, Jim, a very fine line. Regardless of who wins this, you could say both of these teams could make their case. But everybody should have an opinion, and obviously the people of Philadelphia had theirs, and it wasn't an agreement of mine. But what's great about the NCAA tournament, and for this coach as well as any coach, you have to win it on the floor.
But it's not like it, you know, they were talking about a difference here. We're talking about the 4th overall team.
It was a gut
fit.
And in fairness to the committee, it was a gut check. You know?
Sure, and the Cowboys win, and the Big 12 did not have a chance to be factored in. Finished too late. And here these two are dueling to the end for a ticket to San Antonio. With 7.5 to play, and the Cowboys leading by 5. Nelson, beautiful move. Not enough English on that one. Comes back into the hands of McFarland.
And see, Nelson would make that steal normally. McFarland is so strong, and Graham so strong inside, they just can hang on to it. Powerful hands.
Graham is on the floor with 4 fouls. 4th foul coming. 7:38 mark. Here's Allen, found the seam.
Oh, and that
West
time
was
Nelson
able.
gets it.
Yeah, well, West kind of forced it. He's up ahead on the run, and it's down to 3.
Allen was still down on the floor. I thought he was hurt there. Good job, Nelson, showing the hands that he's got. Almost walking that time on Witherspoon. Probably did walk. No call.
Lucas having a huge second half. Not this time.
I don't know about that shot. And here's the breakaway.
It's up to West again. Lucas got a hand in there, and it's last touch by Allen. St. Joe's ball.
Jim, because they've been so successful at this, St. Joe's has, with Nelson throwing that ball down there, he takes the chance, even though being down by 3 points. Pretty good chance on his part.
Oklahoma State has only 1 timeout remaining. We'll be right back.
That's why you play, and that's why different assets that each club has made this game so tight.
OSU has committed only 3 turnovers in this half, after 10 in the first, leading to all those points you mentioned, Billy, off turnovers.
Here's that play where they like to clear out on the weak side. No help for Witherspoon. He's got to recognize that.
Here's Barley. Give up pass here. Jones, yes. Down the 1.
Well, what Eddie Sutton is trying to do, and I don't know how long he can keep Graham out of this ball game. Down to 6 minutes now, 1-point game. And the man that's been the difference in this second half is sitting on the bench.
Under 6 minutes to play, and a 1-point lead for OSU. Lucas is handling it for a long time, looking for help, now looking for the shot.
Oh, look at Allen.
Oh, and he says off of Allen.
Wait a minute, that ball.
It looked like the 2
Yeah,
players.
I think the ball hit right off West's back. Let's see this one right here. Shot goes up, Lucas gets the good look. Yeah, there's no question that ball hit St. Joe's in the back. Right there, the ball is touched by West. Big break for St. Joe.
St. Joe can take the lead here. Down 5 just a moment ago. West with the 3. Too strong. Tipped out of bounds by McFarland.
How long will Eddie Sutton go with Graham sitting on the bench? Down to 5:20. He's got 2 starters on the bench.
He's going to bring Bobick back in, but Graham has been sitting for over 2 minutes. Carroll, 3-point shot. Tipped around, batted around into the hands of McFarland.
This game really getting tense, Jim.
You can feel it.
Yeah, you really can. Both of these teams realizing they are 5 minutes away from going to something every kid dreams of, a Final Four. Great crossover dribble.
A lot of intensity in this building. Here's Lucas.
On the arm.
He'll go to the line.
That was
He's
Carroll on the arm.
Good free throw shooter. Let's check the CBS Sportsline stat of the game. And remember, you can get complete tournament coverage. CBSSportsline.com. Second half turnovers that cut down on them by a wide margin. The Cowboys. And Lucas has really stepped up in this second half.
Shooting 2 at 89% free throw shooter. Young man who had all kinds of problems in the first half with his assist turnover ratio, and kind of surprising because on the year he was almost 2.5 to 1. But the defensive makeup of St. Joe's caused him all kinds of problems in the first half.
Transfer from Baylor. Big 12 Conference waived the transfer rule, able to play right away. Said that he loved Coach Sutton the last 2 years, and I didn't even play for him.
I didn't realize till the other day that Brandon Knight tried to recruit him to get him to come to Pitt and take his spot. But he wanted to stay in the same league.
Bring in Bobick. Lucas will get a breather.
Well, we may be seeing a little offense-defense substitution right now. Bobick going on Nelson. Frees up Lucas. Stay out of foul trouble, get a little breather, and maybe make this team a little better defensively.
He won't be down for long. Here's Nelson working on Bobick. Farley on the drive. Up shot, tipped around. Look at Nelson find the spot. Skip pass, Carroll. Three-point shot. Oh, he's tied the game at 57.
How about that heads-up play by Nelson? He gets it in the deep corner, has the presence of mind to know where everybody is.
Including Carroll on the other side of the court.
Absolutely. He really is heads up.
Carroll's second three of the night.
That was a sensational play.
4 minutes to go. Our seventh tie of this regional final.
Oh, there's good body strength by Nelson.
Weatherspoon in with the jump in there, and it's rejected.
I believe Eddie Sutton has got to come back with his starting team. He's got to go ahead and get Graham back in the game. Lucas is going to come back in.
Going with Lucas, but Graham still sits with the 4 fouls. Now down for 4 minutes.
Yeah, I think with 3:40 to go, Jim, time for him to come back in there.
They were up 5 when he sat. Now he's been asked to check in, so he'll be coming in next whistle.
Jumper.
There it is. Yes, in the lead.
Jumper. Terrific job by West.
Hawks 59. Cowboys 57. Bobbitt driving on Nelson. And Tremere called for that one. Just his second.
Probably not a wise foul by Nelson right there, because where was Bobbitt going to go, Jim? That would have been a very difficult shot.
One team is already in for the Alamo City, and that's the Connecticut Huskies, with a very impressive, overwhelming performance for Alabama today. Too much for the Crimson Tide, down 24 at halftime. 36 points for Ben Gordon. Double bonus.
Nothing here. This team, Oklahoma State, this year 7-0 against teams in the top 25. And here comes Graham back into the ball game. Sat down a long time.
And Lucas back in. That the entire time Graham set, they did not make a basket from the field. 4.5 minutes.
That was a calculated move by Eddie Sutton. Misses a pair. Ball goes out of bounds. Tough break for St. Joe. Big break for Oklahoma State.
It'll be Oklahoma State ball when we come back. Carroll hit the tying 3. They're up 2 now. One timeout for the Cowboys. And you talk about this tension, Billy, this St. Joe's school feeling like the David of the NCAA tournament, the little guy looking for respect, in Oklahoma State, a program that faced a tremendous tragedy just 3 years ago and trying to take the program back to the Final Four. Inside, it's Graham weaving his way out of there, and yes, what a move by Joey Graham.
Almost to 3 seconds, but he is so strong inside, surrounded by 3 people, and still got the shot off. You can see how important he was those 5 minutes he sat down, Jim. Changed the complexion of the offense for Oklahoma State.
We're tied at 59, inside 3 minutes. And heading to the line for 2 is Dwayne Jones.
McFarland on the foul. Just so strong. 3 men surrounded him earlier, then 2. Wheels around, comes back inside, and even with the shot blocker of the Atlantic 10, Jones there, he still gets it off.
Well, you saw the power, and then you saw the finesse right here. That was the 4th foul on McFarland at the other end. Jones not a good free throw shooter.
45%.
So, barely raised rim.
Here's the situation, Jim, when you've got a 45% free throw shooter on the line and you're St. Joe's, you've got to be thinking about a miss here. Do everything you can to maybe get one right in the paint.
2 get away from it.
Yep.
Cowboys now trying to break that tie at 2:45.
Lucas gets the switch.
Allen lost the dribble going in, but got it back. Calls time. That's the last timeout.
Well, he had the arrow. It was not a good one to call, Jim. He would have gotten the ball back possession-wise anyway.
Eddie Sutton's team, though, will talk it over. They'll have the ball when we come back. How large is that handicap, Billy? No timeouts for the Cowboys.
Jim, I think it's very, very important, and you've got to, as a player, recognize the fact of which way the arrow goes. I know you have a lot in your mind, but it's extremely important. Graham hits the floor. Allen hits the floor. He has to realize that, hey, we've got possession of this ball. Let's save that last timeout. Could be very, very important.
What are you looking for right here for Oklahoma State with this possession?
Well, I think that right now it's the Graham-Allen show. If you're Oklahoma State, you ought to make St. Joe have to stop one of those two and see if there's something else there. Inbounds pass really important here because Barley is in the game. He's got good anticipation. It's going to be Barley on Graham.
Allen has only 2 points in this second half. He's their top scorer. Inside, pinned underneath. McFarland had it knocked away, and the Hawks have the possession with the game tied.
Nice job by Jones to pin him on the baseline.
Nelson had an open look for a moment.
So what's interesting to watch Nelson's eyes, he sees all 9 other guys on the floor when he's dribbling. He never has to concern himself about his own play. That's why he can make so many great plays.
2 minutes to go. Under 10 on the shot clock. Nelson. There's Allen with the sweep for OSU.
Nelson got hit right in the thigh on that play. He's holding his thigh. Looks like he's in a little bit of pain right now.
Lucas comes off the screen.
Wow, what a shot at that time to take.
It was a line drive, too, Billy.
I don't think if you're Oklahoma State, you want to come down the floor without giving Graham an opportunity to have the ball.
Timeout called by Phil Martelli. St. Joe's with 1:31 remaining. Will inbound with the game tied and a ticket to San Antonio on the line. You see something here, Billy, that stands out?
Yeah, it really does. We talked about the 0 timeouts, but here a foul to give, which can be very, very helpful if you're Oklahoma State, particularly the way that Nelson handles the ball in these key situations. If he's beaten you, you can get the foul on that dribble and make him take that ball to the sideline. 25 seconds on the shot clock. And I really think that if you are Oklahoma State, when you get the ball, you have got to give Joey Graham an opportunity to touch it down inside. This game is exactly what it should have been. A number 1 against a number 2. That was a foul. No call.
That was a call. There was a whistle outside, Billy. Let's see.
That's West. So you have a foul to give, though. Nobody will go to the line. That was Allen on the outside with West. New 35-second on them.
And that's the 16th foul, the 3rd on Allen. Nelson lost his dribble, almost a double dribble.
I think it was a double dribble. Hit his leg, then he recovered, dribbled again.
Heard some groans from the OSU section. 1:09 to go.
Trying to get any edge you can as a fan right now. Good one.
Shot blocked and picked up by Joey Graham.
Now, I will be shocked now if Graham does not get at least a chance to touch the ball.
Under a minute to play. Both teams looking very tight right now. Allen, wow, West, no call. Kicks it way out. Lucas, Barley converges on him. Fadeaway jumper, he got it.
You know what? West
seconds to go and they lead by 2.
West and Lucas both have been, I think, 100%, Jim, on fadeaway jumpers tonight.
A 10th lead change. 61-59. Another one. Yes, it's Carroll for the lead.
The hedge move. Why would you leave Carroll? You know Nelson can find him.
25 seconds. Down 1. They have no timeouts.
And taking too much time here is Oklahoma State.
15 seconds to go for the final 4. Graham out high. He lost control, kicks it out. Lucas's shot. Yes! 3-pointer, 7 seconds left. 2-point lead.
Here comes Nelson. He's got the ball. You know he'll take it.
No timeout. They're not going to take it. Lucas defending, and yes, rebound to Lucas. Oklahoma State's going to the Final 4.
Jim, everything the game should have been. 2 outstanding teams. Heartbreak Hill, not Hawk Hill for St. Joe, but 2 great teams playing outstanding basketball.
How about the shot Lucas hit for the winner?